Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to another Supreme Commander epic. It's going to be Phantom business on the cards this afternoon. Exciting stuff, I'm sure you'll agree, with some of your all-time favourite pros. I mean, I don't know who your favourite pros are, but they should be these guys because they're awesome. Thank you to everybody who got involved with the YouTube community poll I put up the other day regarding Crusader Kings 3. I'm going to be doing a small Crusader Kings 3 series, see if we can't entice some people from other genres, or other types of strategy at least, into the SOPCOM arena. Broaden our little reach that we have here at Guilecast just a tad. If you are interested in grand strategy games, and especially Crusader 3, check out that content coming soon. Alright, that's enough of that. As we said, it's going to be Phantom business with your favourite pros, and it's going down on the one, the only, the classic Phantom map. Phantom Bunny Roanoke version 12. How very exotic. I'm ready. You guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Ching! Ka-ching! Instant loading. It's going to be a good one. Let's check out our players up here at the top in the 12 o'clock position. Going Hallyborange Orange and going Seraphim and going for an upgrade immediately. It's a Turbo 2. There he is. Down here to the southeast, it's Piku in Burgundy Red, going Spiky Space Socialist, better known as Cyberin. There he is. Another upgrade there for him. Very much part of the meta, I think, on Phantom these days. Go straight for that upgrade. As you can see, No Fear 555 doing the same. Another Cyberin, this time in Ferrari Red at the 430 position. Down at 6 o'clock, our good friend, none other than Achieved Jaguar 8, going Seraphim in Electric Blue, also on an upgrade there. And next up over here to the northwest, we've got Blast Chilled, our first UEF of the day in Spetsnaz Green. And last but not least, up here at the top, completing all of the races, it's When Day Breaks, going Aeon in Elephantine Grey. So there we have it. It is, what is it? We've got 2 Cyberin, 2 Seraphim, a UEF, and a 2 Cyberin, 2 Seraphim, UEF, and an Aeon. There we go. I got to it. It took me a moment there. Checking out the player ratings in this one, lowest rated players are No Fear and Piku, only on 1700, so it's a pretty high rating game there all round. Highest rated players Achieved Jaguar on 2300, then we have a 2200 with Turbo and a couple of 2000s there with When Day Breaks and Blast Chilled. So there we have it, these guys getting set up. What have we got here? Chief Jaguar going for a little bit of naval business, not hanging about at 3.5 minutes, getting that first naval yard up and running. I imagine that's going to be very much the case across the board. No, I'm talking absolute garbage. No Fear recycling his T2 power plants and using the extra mass to funnel into some mass extractors. You might ask, why is he doing that? Well, he's got his iron reactor. That's enough power for now. That mass can be better served by funneling it into upgrading his mass production facilities, and at the same time he's going to get to work on that second iron reactor. It's all a very carefully set out plan that these guys generally follow. Piku doing the same thing, getting his second iron reactor. He's actually also started on a quantum gateway, got that half done and went, nah, let's get that second iron reactor up first. He's also queued up a whole load of hives there right next to it just to make sure he can really pump out those support commanders once that gateway is up and running. Turbo already has his hives up and running, and you might be wondering why on earth, I have covered this the last time we did a Phantom game, why on earth has a Seraphim with no donated Cyberin engineers got access to these hive stations as their Cyberin tech? Well, it's quite simple. The Phantom mod provides these to every player, every race, just to kind of balance out the racial disparity, because having that extra massive build power facility really does break the game in favor of Cyberins on this particular format. So that is why it's automatically included with all of the races. Just look at him funneling all of that extra mass into some mass fabricators, and the quantum gateway up and running. Oh, he's going for a second quantum gateway right off the bat. So Turbo 2 absolutely flying. Have we had Phantom assignment yet? I think we may well have. Let's just look at generated eco stats. There seems to be quite a large disparity. So Piku and No Fear on 200s, Blast Chills on 300. Achieve Jaguar on about 300 as well. And Turbo 2 and When Day Breaks on 500. So I think it's fair to say our two phantoms for this map are going to be these two chappies here. It's When Day Breaks and it's Turbo 2. And quite possibly, just from looking at the mass totals, Blast Chill down here will be the sort of semi-phantom, the Paladin who's fighting on behalf of the Innocents. So the Innocents will be these four chappies here. That'll be Blast Chilled, or, well, I mean, he's a Paladin, but he's still an Innocent. Achieve Jaguar, No Fear 555, and Piku. And the two phantoms right next door to each other, so it's going to be a lot of pressure fanning out from this direction. And you could see the two phantoms making very good use of that early advantage, just pumping out those support commanders as quickly as possible, which will, of course, in turn increase their, not only their build power, but their mass generation capabilities. It's actually quite frightening when you see it on +3. It is really pretty terrifying. See how many support commanders we're actually up to. I think When Daybreaks might be further ahead than Turbo. What have we got there? We are up to 10 support commanders so far for Turbo at 10.5 minutes. That's pretty frightening. When Daybreaks, we are up to 16. So he has got his opening down on this phantom map. Seems to know what he's doing. Compare that to, say, our seasoned pro, but without the phantom bonus down here. Achieve Jaguar, he has got 5. So yeah, you can really tell the difference that that phantom bonus gets you. Lots and lots of naval yards queued up there for No Fear 555. Just all of the shipyards. Apologies if you can hear my dog barking in the background. He's not feeling too great today. His brother didn't get parole yesterday. Very upset about it. It's been a nightmare to live with. Strategic missile defense up already for Turbo, who's saying, stop making Navy, you tryhards, in local chat. Let's have a quick look to see if any of these guys have been communicating. They must all have spotted, I think, who's who and who's got it. We're already seeing aircraft carriers rolling out from When Day Breaks. You can see actually no naval prep whatsoever for Turbo. He hasn't even queued up a single naval yard yet. So it's going to be intriguing to see where he goes with it. Already has his anti-Cybran teleportation protection with loads of banks of T1 PD defending his commander there. And a few naval yards going up over here for Piku, who's just gone straight for 1 T3, a very different tack to No Fear, who is just building all of the T1. He has got a naval HQ. He's upgrading it to T3 now, 65% done there. But he's also getting ready to pump out a bajillion frigates by the looks of things, with all of those T1 naval yards. T2 naval yard on the way for Achieve Jaguar, 70% done and climbing nicely there. And he's also working on some mass fabricators as we approach 15-minute threshold into this game. How much longer before things kick off, I wonder. And you can see the mass totals here climbing nicely. When Day Breaks at 1.4, 1.3k, similar for Turbo 2. Blast Chilled at pretty much just over half what the Phantoms are pumping out. And he, by the looks of things, is the Paladin. He's actually not that far ahead of a Jaguar, but I guess that's where the extra 300 global ranking points comes. He knows what he's doing there. I mean, all of these guys know what they're doing, let's face it, compared to us average Joes, us mere mortals. Nice Navy building up here for Blast Chilled. I think he's going to need it. Straddled right above him by the Phantom. He's already got 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7 battleships and more rolling out all the time. It's amazing how quickly this develops when you're on +3. But of course, the added bonus over here for Blast Chilled being UEFs, the fact that he's got those wonderful bulwark vessels, of which he has many already. All of these vessels here pumping out shields to help defend these battle cruisers. He's got a handful of battle cruisers, or a couple of battle cruisers. Most of them, I think, are... Well, actually, most of them are battle cruisers. He's got 1 or 2 summits, I think. Any there? Nope, they're all battle cruisers, I think. So he's going Ion Ray versus Omen battleship. Few shields blinking on and off there as when day breaks, literally breaks. Have they all broken off together? So still allied with the Phantom. He's broken with everyone. Turbo 2 is still allied with everyone. So if he hasn't been outed by his actions so far and his monumental economy build-up, then he is still incognito for the time being. But I suspect players of this skill level have all correctly by now identified who the Phantom or the Phantoms are. They certainly know it's When Day Breaks, who is laying in to blast Chilled right now. He's going to get some support rolling in from the east here. We've got a few Salems marching up, but how they're going to fare against this horrendous count of Omen battleships here, who are just tearing into blast Chilled's battle cruisers. Despite all of those shield boats he had, they've all been depleted just by the sheer quantity of Omen battleships here from When Day Breaks. Oh my goodness, didn't things escalate quickly? Blast Chilled with a pretty sizable air force, but now we're getting some motion from Turbo 2, who has broken with all of the Innocents, so it is now Phantoms versus Innocents. He's posturing with his air force. He was thinking about bringing them in down here, but he's got another air force to worry about here from Piku, who's also advancing up towards him with some of his battleships. He's got 3 Galaxy-class battleships by the looks of things. They're going to waste no time in taking out the T3 mechs on that little central island there. But we already have 2 experimental bombers there from Turbo 2. We wondered why we didn't see him investing early into the naval game. Well, this is why he is focusing on pumping out the experimental bombers, and they're crossing the water right now, heading on over to Piku. Air units engaging the air force there of Piku's. He's got some assistance from When Day Breaks, who's completely ignored the battle that he's got happening on his own side of things, and just wiping the floor with that section of Piku's base. He does lose one of the experimental bombers, but the other one's looking pretty healthy at 45,000 hit points out of 52. And he's going to get another run at this, and he's going to connect a bomb. Bosh! And is that it? He's got him! Piku must have been standing too close to the ion reactor there, and he says, oops, in local chat. Our first player ejected at 20 minutes, and that could be very important for how this game develops, because that's a player right on the doorstep, early doors of Turbo 2. He's going to find it pretty easy to expand, I think. Blast Chilled's brought his ASF horde up here to the top right to help combat these experimental bombers. If only he'd been up here just a fraction earlier, he might have kept his teammate alive. Excuse me. He does manage to shoot down that second experimental bomber. Have we got more on the way, though? Yes, we have. Look at that. And look how quickly they are building. He's got another one up there already. The explosion's going off over here. A support commander's going pop. And what's happened in the meantime? Well, Blast Chilled is still alive, but his base has been annihilated by this swarm of Navy from When Day Breaks. So many battleships clogging the straits here between the 2 islands. And now the Innocents having to resort to Zooey spam. A Chief Jaguar who's set up a whole load of land factories on this central island is just funneling those mobile floaty, naughty artillery pieces in towards these battleships in just some kind of vain attempt to hold them up, but it doesn't look like it's going to work for now. A Chief Jaguar is trying to move in with some more battleships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 battleships in this sphere for him, and he's focusing on producing a lot more naval yards to try and increase production. Question is, how long can he hold out? Will, when day breaks, manage to break through this blockade here and threaten his main base? Where has Blast Chilled moved off to? Blast Chilled still has that one T3 mechs on that little mini island down there, but effectively, other than that, he is more or less reliant now on the mass generation provided by those support commanders. And they are, by the looks of things, all RAS preset support commanders, but we've got a nuke out from No Fear. Where is it heading? It's going straight across the map. It looks like it might be when Daybreak's fleet is the target of that missile. It's certainly heading in that direction. If it's positioned well, it could take out a few of these battleships. You can see when Daybreak's working out where it's going. He's on the move, trying to get out of the inevitable blast zone. 4 battleships and a bunch of shield gens get taken out in that strike. That might be just enough to slow this attack down. And he's actually moving in towards the center with most of these battleships away from the blockade set up by a Chief Jaguar and into the oncoming navy from No Fear. No Fear might be facing a naval issue from 2 different directions as well, from Turbo 2 coming down from the north. Where are we at now on the experimental front? Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3 experimental bombers. A 4th completed there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 queued up. Or 15 in total, with the queued up ones and the constructed ones. Blast Chilled saying need SAMs. I think everybody needs SAMs right now to ward off that flying armada of Turbo 2. Absolutely terrifying. 24 minutes in and this game has just exploded into action. 1 innocent down already and the others in trouble. I don't know how they're going to ward off those experimental bombers from Turbo 2. It's going to be a tough ask. When day breaks with an outrageous quantity of hives, 80 of them lining the front of his island, funneling all of that build power into battleship production. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 experimental bombers. Is he going to wait for more, or is he going to send them in? He's got a 6th that's half done. Another one started here. In fact, 2 that are half done. He doesn't want to miss an opportunity, wait till there's too much air defense. But then, what level of air defense can keep you safe from so many experimental bombers? I humbly submit no quantity of air defense is probably the correct answer to that supposition. Absolute naval mess over here. All of the land factories bar 1, in fact all of the land factories now on that little island that were pumping out those Zooies for a Chief Jaguar have been totaled, but he's setting up new ones on Blast Chilled's old base island. But here we go, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 experimental bombers. They're rendezvousing in the center. What will be their target? Could it be a Chief Jaguar? They're going to make their run in from here, whoever it is. Wow, and another one joins. That's insane. I'm reminded of the intro video to Supreme Commander itself with the invasion of the Seraphim and all of the experimental bombers. I think we're actually seeing it here in the flesh. so to speak. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? It's Turbo 2. And he's coming for you. No fear. Time to find some fear. That is truly horrendous amounts of firepower heading his way. Oh my word. I'm frightened for your life. I'm frightened for your life. I better line this up. You better go for the main base. So the first one gets shot down. There's a lot of SAMs in here, but they'll get the bombs off at least with every other one, I think. And away they go. I haven't had a chance to check where his comm is, but he's not going to have much of a base left. Boom, baby. No Fear's base is officially totaled. That's grotesque amounts of damage. And coming around for a second run. Amazingly, these mass fabs survived the first pass, but a nicely placed bomb right in the middle of them will see to that. Another experimental bomber does get shot down, but he releases his bomb nonetheless. And you can see once we get the icons back in that his base is in tatters. And worse still for the innocents, most of these experimental bombers are still alive. 2, 4, 6 of them remain, and that should be enough to take out all of Chief Jaguar's base as well. Blast Chilled brings in his ASFs to try and counter, but there's so many phantom ASFs in there. He'll be lucky to kill many, or even one. But, whoa! 4 of the experimental bombers shot down in one pass because they were all so badly damaged from the assault on No Fear's island. 2 of them remain. One of them is a cat's whisker away from death on 4,000 hit points. Gets another bomb off, though. I'm not sure on what. On the mass wreckages of his old experimentals. Taking a lot of fire from these aircraft carriers here, which pack a real punch in terms of anti-aircraft firepower. But 2 more bombs away. Pretty much enough to dismantle all of Chief Jaguar's infrastructure. He does have 1 quantum gateway and 1 T3 P-Gen remaining. Has he got enough support commanders out before this catastrophe to remain afloat? That's the question. He's got 17. That's not too shabby. How many did we get from Blast Chilled? Blast Chilled's on 30, so ironically he's now faring a lot better than Chief Jaguar despite losing his base so much earlier. But look at the penetration that When Day Breaks has achieved with his navy. But look at all of the Atlantis that Blast Chilled has managed to put together. That is insane. Battleships from When Day Breaks trying their very best to ground fire some of these units as they come in. But there's so much torpedo potential in these Atlantis. That could be a bit of a game changer in and of itself. This game is insane. Absolutely insane. Decent number of sub-hunters as well. T3 sub-hunters for Jaguar. So When Day Breaks has a major torpedo issue with all of these submarines in this area. And you can see the number of battleships down here for When Day Breaks has fallen off massively. We've got 8 on screen in this area, and that number is falling all of the time. Just insane. I just don't know what else to say. I'm still jazzing about Turbo 2's epic arse-washing session. Is he still building them? He's still building them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I don't know why you'd change up when that single strategy has been quite so effective. What's going on over here? What is that's not a comm teleport, is it? It is a comm teleport. Turbo 2 has been somewhere with his commander. I'm not sure exactly where, but wherever it was, we missed it. Are we going to get another epic Awasar bombing run? Lots of harms under the ocean over here. Lots of SAMs in the middle. It's actually a pretty dangerous place to try and assault right now, no fear. He's got a decent amount of support commanders up. He has his mobile economy set up, and he's got a lot of defenses. I mean, look at these harms. Breaking in the front door there is not going to be much fun. And although we've seen the outrageous potential of these Awasars, which for some reason don't properly display their graphics anymore when they hit on water. I'm sure they always used to. Please sort that out, devs, or let me know if there's a setting I've tweaked somewhere in the comments section. That's just why they're not displaying correctly. And while you're there, give us a like for Turbo 2's outrageous Awasar play. Just mental. And while you're down there, subscribe while you're at it if you haven't already, so you can make sure you don't miss another one of these going forward. Has to be said, the Innocents are doing a bang-up job considering how aggressively the Phantoms came out in this and how successful they've been. Blast Shield just ousted almost immediately from his main island. Piku taken out in the first pass. No Fear just obliterated his main island, as has Achieved Jaguar, but they seem to stem the tide. Blast Chilled and Achieved Jaguar going straight for submarine firepower, and look at the dividends it's paid off. You can see each one of these weird stripy upturned hulls at the bottom of the seabed is a fallen or sunken battleship belonging to When Day Breaks. Just tremendous effort that's paid absolute dividends. Looking at the kill-loss ratio, Turbo 2 actually hasn't done that well, which really surprises me. He's on 0.64 when you consider how much damage he's inflicted with relatively small amounts of units, but I think he's lost an awful lot elsewhere. Maybe it was these frigates which he's just sailing into Harm's territory. Harm's, Sam's, battleship, frigate, cruiser, destroyer territory. No Fear with absolutely everything hauled up in here. There is one story in this so far. It's the affinity the Innocents have had with the classic aquatic weapon, the torpedo, be it Harms based or be it submarine based, but it's absolutely paying dividends. Another experimental bomber off right at the front line, and that's juicy if ever I saw it. Oh, look at all the dead support commanders on the seabed. It's not enough to protect you from the Awasars. The epic downsurge of water pressure crumpling those SCU's suits on the seabed. I can imagine that's a really terrible way to go. Now the battleship advantage down here, actually with Jaguar, it would seem. Another Awasar gets the bomb off, but immediately gets shot down. There are so many SAMs in here for No Fear. 177 SAMs. The scale. The unbridled scale. 35 minutes down for this one. And that initial surge by the Phantoms has been muted. We do have some artillery in place. But it doesn't seem like Turbo 2 is investing everything in artillery. You've got to wonder what is the actual point when you've got a fully mobile economy that the Innocents have with the support commanders and the infrastructure. It's spread out with essentially just chains and chains of defenses dotted around. T3 mobile artillery becomes substantially less important. Going after the one major target it can go after. Quantum Gateway for no fear. We do have similar places. Quantum Gateway's over here, but that's really all that they've bothered building up. No point in rebuilding the bases. They haven't even bothered to go and grab those mass points. Getting so much eco now from all of the support commanders they've managed to get out onto the field. Rex getting hoovered up now. Huge quantities of mass getting recycled. You can remember how many Omen battleships there were lying around down here. Chief Jaguar has scooped up all of that. You can see the totals that they've managed to amass. Turbo 2, 3.5 million mass. That's almost 1 million more than his other Phantom when day breaks. And the rest of the Innocents on 1.48, 1.44 and 1.42. Blast Shield actually having been the Paladin, now at the bottom of the pack. Having not enjoyed assaulting or trying to assault No Fear in recent attempts, he's redirecting his experimental bombers over here, and he's doing some great damage, taking out 4 Atlantises, 4 experimental submarines now careering to the seabed as a massive aerial engagement kicks off between Turbo and a Chief Jaguar over here. We've got another huge air wing belonging to When Day Breaks, who interestingly isn't committing to that. I'm wondering why. I mean, it is over the top of all of this, these air defenses, all of these SAMs. I was wondering for a moment, is he going to try and take this opportunity to backstab Turbo 2? Well, I don't think now would be the right time to do it. But that maneuver has cost Turbo 2 all of his ASFs, his entire air force, at least fighter air force. He's got a massive torpedo bomber contingent, and of course the experimental bombers again. 2, 4, 6, 7 of them. But his ability to keep them alive now hampered for the time being after taking those losses. Another nuke, this time it's out from Turbo 2. Is he going to try and clear up some of these defenses over here? Mass nukes might be a way to go in this for either side, just to try and clear a path, an avenue of attack to tidy up one of these opponents. And it looks like he might be going after some of those harms, some of those SAMs. Saw him complaining about the harms earlier, I think. Oh, it's an experimental nuke. Sure, I completely missed that. So we have a Yolona Os from Turbo 2 with an experimental super nuke, which he will now be spamming. Harms assisted. Just look at the rate that that's rebuilding them. That's terrifying for everybody who isn't Turbo 2, other Phantom included. And you can just see the hole that it's torn in the defenses of No Fear, who now really will be knowing fear. Because as well as his defenses up until now have held out, they are going to seriously struggle to repel firepower of this magnitude. Ah, you bosh. Oh dear.
Strategic launch detected.
Just carpet bombing. He's going along the front line. He's going to take out everything and then move in, by the looks of things, on No Fear. It's everybody else spamming up anti-nuke. If not, they probably should be. They're not doing it as yet. They need to find a way to take out that Yolana Arsenal. That is going to be game. I don't call them game enders for no reason. Oh, look how many experimental bombers he's got now. 12. He's got 12 experimental bombers. Just grotesque. Another super nuke lands. And another gaping hole torn in the front line of No Fear. That is awesome. I think we're up to about, by the looks of things, about 3 T3 artillery pieces. Maybe it's 2. It looked like 3 for a moment there. Might have redirected one. Why are bombers so dumb? Well, bad workman blames his tools. That's all I'm going to say. And what possible right I have to refer to Turbo 2 as being dumb, considering the show he's putting on here. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. There's so much dead stuff. I think it's safe now. I think you can come in. He actually hasn't got a huge navy left. He's got lots of sub-hunters in here now. That's a lot of submarine firepower. I think No Fear might be done. Where's the next super nuke going? Oh, thought for a minute we'd lost the player. Where is No Fear? Is that him? No, it is not. Let's check it out. No Fear with a decent number of strats over there. There is a hotkey. I always forget it to zoom in on the comm. Answers in the comment section. Let me know what that is. You guys always tell me and I always forget. But there he is. Down next to the little side island there, in between a Chief Jaguar's side island and his main island. Putting some distance between himself and his ousted home, which is promptly becoming an irradiated mess. It's been pretty static over here when day breaks. Still just focusing on pumping out the navy, but he has built several artillery pieces. 3 of them there. How many are we at? Shouldn't say how many we at. It's terrible English. How many have we got? Looks like we've got 2 there for Turbo. Oh, so much death. So much death. Poor commanders running for their lives as fast as you can run underwater. They do a damn good job of it, let's face it. He's stacking up revenants. I'm wondering if he's going to try and make a play on that Yolana Os. Someone's got to do something about it, otherwise this is going to be an insta-win now for the Phantoms. Those bombers. Did he attack with those 12 bombers? Did I miss it? He's got 3 there. Oh, they're just dotted out. He's got 14 of them now. Definitely the story of this match. Those experimental bombers from Turbo. I did think it was weird when he was taking so long to invest in Navy. But I've got to say, I like the strat. Just picking apart No Fear. And now he's in with the sub-hunters around the perimeter of the island create. Not sure if that was Yoda or Mr. Bean. saw turbo vent. At this point, I really don't know what the Innocents do to claw this back. Unless, when Daybreaks gets nervous and breaks with turbo, he's going to have to do it at some point if he wants to stand a chance of winning. He's not going to be able to contend with all those experimental bombers and that Yolona Os. Does have a very sizable air force. 560 ASFs he's got, plus 40 that are out of fuel. Turbo, by comparison, has got 301. Just insane levels of aircraft. Strat bombers, though, for no fear, moving to the western edge of the screen. And this could make life really difficult for when Daybreaks if he loses something crucial here. These are Cybran strat bombers, so when Daybreaks likely only knows about it here when they pass the visible range of those vessels. He's moving in with his ASFs to intercept. And he's going to do a very, very tidy job of that. Perfectly executed. They will get a bunch of bombs off, but on what? I don't know. On absolutely nothing. That was a very well executed defensive maneuver. The Atlantises have surfaced using their anti-air to shoot down that experimental bomber. Turbo not reacting by sending them all in after the Atlantis. I thought he might have done that. I'm guessing he's now keeping them back for inevitable attack on when day breaks. Both of these fighters sitting at their positions over here.
Detected.
That bomber probably wants to move away from that air staging base. Doesn't want to hang out right next door to all of those ASFs, of which there are many. But the battle in the sea really has petered out over here. We've got 3 Atlantis for blast chilled. But otherwise, these 2 fleets keeping their distance. And now it's Achieve Jaguar's turn to feel the wrath of the mighty Yolona Os. Dead center of a lot of these defenses. The torpedo launchers and SAMs taking a battering. These actually survive mostly. They're heavily damaged, but now the sub-hunters from Turbo 2, having cleaned out everything around that island, push on towards Achieve Jaguar. We've got a few torpedo launchers in here, or a few banks of torpedo launchers, I should say. Another super nuke out. I think it's pretty much a given that this contest will now be between the Phantoms. I don't see any way back for the Innocents at this point. Unless, as we've said before, when day breaks, realizes the danger he's in and attacks Turbo 2. That's the only way back in for the Innocents at this point. Another bunch of dead harms and dead SAMs.
Strategic launch detected.
Harms actually faring pretty well initially, but I do forget it's a staggered blast with such an enormous nuke. Damage applied in layers to mimic that. why is Achieved still alive. He's actually been doing very well for himself. It's been a wonderful combination of Achieved and Blast Chill actually down here. Their submarine power repelling when day breaks. Super nuke. Well, interestingly placed. I would have gone slightly further south. Hearing a bomber go off, and it's kicked off. Who broke with who, I wonder?
Strategic launch detected.
Well, whoever broke, the surprise seems to have favored when day breaks. I'm imagining when day breaks broke, because it's allowed him to kill 4 of the experimental bombers that were still landed on those internal islands near the center of the map. ASFs spring into action for Turbo 2, having realized they are under attack Pearl Harbor style. Oh, another one down over here, another one down over there. This one vulnerable, about to get shot down. Taking massive casualties here. Turbo 2 missing a trick not to be the one to initiate the break and attack his former teammate. When day breaks, stratagem of piling everything into ASF production has warded off his biggest threat, but now the artillery pieces open up on each other, and just look how many artillery pieces there are for Turbo 2 as those shots pass each other in the sky and rain down. There's a fair few from when day breaks as well, but Turbo 2 seems to have massively stacked them up, and the super nuke will clear out everything, assuming it's allowed to land. We've got lots of strategic missile defense silos over here, but they're both empty. Not sure it's even needed with the amount of artillery that's landing. The nuke is inbound. How is Turbo 2's base holding up? Well, the shields are holding, and now most of when day breaks artillery has been taken out. One anti-nuke missile fired and another one, so that threat dealt with, but the artillery still rains down. Is that the last T3 artillery piece belonging to when day breaks that Turbo 2 has taken out? Quite possibly. Meanwhile, at the front of Turbo 2's base, where Turbo 2 actually has located himself with his comm, or was that a renamed support commander? I think, no, that was him, but he's got the teleporter. He's teleported himself out somewhere to safety, which was not a bad decision considering what was headed his way. Now, is this going to allow the Innocents to get re-established? Remember, no fear, not dead. Blast Chilled and Achieved Jaguar still very much alive with lots of support commanders. So, this has just extended the game quite significantly. Another experimental bomber completes. Lots of support commanders working on more. And when day breaks, main base just in pieces. And importantly, his ability to mass produce naval vessels about to be completely nullified. Super nuke landing at the back here. It's going to take out a bunch of T2 naval yards and an awful lot of stuff on the island as well, with its enormous blast radius. Wouldn't be surprised after this if the entire planet had shifted in its orbit somewhat with all of the super nukes going off. 50 minutes gone. When Daybreaks had to make a move. At first it went swimmingly, but the sheer amount of artillery and that super nuke has done him in. Where actually is all of the artillery? Is it over here? Well, it's over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And another Yolonos. He's got 2. He has 2 super nukes. Stop teaming. Well, I think they kind of have to. Has When Day Breaks joined with the Innocents? He has. It's now everybody against Turbo.
Strategic launch detected.
And that's what I love about Phantom games. There is no honor. Anything goes. Diplomacy is a factor. All governed by long-term self-interest. Super nuke up to the top left-hand corner. There's a lot. This is a serious underwater Maginot line. Or actually above water Maginot line, but mainly of air defense. There to keep the experimental bombers out. That's going to be a gaping hole torn in it. Could sneak his experimental bombers through there, but a Chief Jaguar now moving up from the south with his sub-hunters. Poor Turbo. It's only because you've been doing so well. That's the reason everybody hates you. It's only because of jealousy. What's going on here? Aeon engineers from When Day Breaks trying to start work of Tsars up at the top. Presuming that's just a way to quickly reclaim things up there. I don't know what the purpose of that is. Maybe it's just a joke.
Strategic launch detected.
Again, answers in the comment section if you're a pro and you know what that's about. Another super nuke out. Ooh. That's going to go right on top of his own units. There's close, and then there's foolhardy, and I think that falls into the latter category. Going to lose a few subs in there, and a few support commanders as well. Potentially. Bombers for Blast Chilled massing over here. 1 Strat and a whole bunch of Janus. Oh, and a Scathis online for No Fear down here with the assistance of Blast Chilled on that side island. Now that could be very interesting. That's going to be hard for
Strategic launch detected.
Turbo 2's shields. That should be #1 target priority once those shells start to land. And he recognizes the threat. It's like, oh no. Look at the mass field. Just look at it. Another very, very near nuke. Blast still attacks me. Is Blast... So Blast, yeah, Blast hasn't joined with When Day Breaks. He has a little more honor than Achieve Jaguar and No Fear, it would seem. I know Achieve won't mind me saying it. It's all in jest. It's just impossible to follow everything over here. Oh my god! That was him over there on the right! A torpedo bomber snipe! Unreal! Turbo 2 picked off, loitering out in the Far East. What was he doing over there? He had the teleporter. So for some reason he teleported over there. I don't know why. But spy planes up here, for No Fear, discovered him, and that was it. Blast Chilled picked him off with a torpedo bomber snipe. Turbo 2 from beyond the grave asking for the location of the Scathis. Well, it's down here, my friend, and there's about to be another one for too long. And now, I can't believe it, it's looking like the Innocents are going to win. That's why I love Phantom games. It's amazing. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So much devastation. And what are we at now in eco? So it's the eco of when day breaks at 1.4k. Now only matching pretty much the eco of Achieved Jaguar, or similar certainly. And then you've got No Fear and Blast Chilled who are on 800-900 apiece, something like that. It's suddenly gone massively in the Innocent's favour with the demise of Turbo 2. It would have been interesting to see if they hadn't managed to bag that snipe, if Turbo 2 hadn't made that mistake up there, how the Scathis would have impacted the game. Because once the Yolona Osses were taken care of and the artillery pieces, the mainland, Turbo 2 would have been neutered. But then would it have shifted balance again once Achieved Jaguar and No Fear broke with When Day Breaks? Who can say? It's all academic at this point. We know how it turned out. When Day Breaks throwing out the GG, are we going to get a Control K at 56 minutes? It certainly looks nigh on impossible at this point for When Day Breaks to pull this one back. He's surrounded on every front. He's going to be out-ecoed. And the only super weapons now in the hands of the Innocents. Chief Jaguar harassing those last Tsars with his air wing. When Day Breaks, I can only crush with Cybrin. Wouldn't be anything to do with all of their cheating teleporting hacks, would it? I'm so bitter. Well, that has been a highly entertaining game. So many explosions, so many super weapons, and there goes When Day Breaks. The Innocents win at 57 minutes. A well-deserved victory brought to fruition by the inevitable self-interest of the Phantoms. It's not a team game after all, as far as they're concerned. They have to be in it to win it by themselves. It is the lot of the Phantom. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. There's always more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if there's more content you're after, you've seen everything, and you're not currently subscribed to the Patreon, it only costs you $1 a month, and then we've got 21 casts on there already, more added every week. So come and check that out, guys. Honestly, think about what you spend $1 a month on, really, and ask yourself, is it not worth that? Of course it's worth that. So I hope to see you soon. And keep the replays coming in, guys, because they are always, always very welcome. I can't promise to cast them, but I promise I will take a look. All right, that's enough of that. Until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.